Good evening, everybody. I'm joined tonight by Kijuan Amey, who I'll be dressing as Kiwi for the rest of the evening. We had some technical difficulties, but that's always the problem when you're transmitting from the UK to the States. I met Kiwi about a year and a half ago out in Vegas during sort of the US Air Force Warrior Trials, and top bloke, and we're interested to hear his story tonight. So, evening, Kiwi.
Hello, Mike. How are you, man? I am finally here.
Yeah, I'm
Technology is fun.
yeah, I'm good. Technology, yeah, it's to be honest, it's had me tonight as well. Like trying to sort out all the different sound inputs, and I tell you what, I haven't done is I haven't muted the music, so people will still be hearing that. There we go, and Spotify's gone. So now we've got you. Yeah,
All right.
yeah, it's all good. Yeah, I'm about 3 months post surgery now. Fifth operation on my shoulder, so just recovering, trying to get back to my fighting weight. So I need to get motivated.
Oh,
Yeah,
fighter. Okay.
I need to get back to this sort of fitness and get some of the pounds off I put on over Christmas while I wasn't doing anything.
What type of fighting do you do?
Oh no, fighting weight is it's just like a term. Basically, I just don't
Oh,
want to be fat anymore.
isn't that us? Isn't that all of us?
Yeah, I've got a bit of a belly where I lost all motivation after my last surgery, and I,
Yeah.
I did nothing for 3 months apart from eat and drink lots of Guinness. So
Yeah. Well, that's
so
you guys. That's a great beard there, huh?
yeah, so the weight's gone on. What about yourself?
Oh,
What have you been up to?
actually, actually, Mike. I kid you not, man. I've been in the gym pretty strong since March here. Um, when I saw you last from trials, dude, after trials and I didn't get selected, it was like it was depression slash disappointment, but it wasn't disappointment on my end. It was disappointment in how I viewed the program.
Yeah,
And so, I mean, because I trained hard before I went and got gold and everything except for powerlifting because you know who Matt Cable is. I'm
yeah,
sure you're familiar. I'm not competing with him.
nah,
I'm not competing with him in powerlifting. I'm not even near. he was he was outpressing me by I believe it was 145 or 55 pounds.
yeah. He's a bit of a unit. Him, Chris. Oh, they're
So
all.
I'm doing like I'm doing like 215. He's doing like 365, and I'm like, I knew I wasn't gonna win in that. So why? I mean, I just wanted to do
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
Like I love lifting weights. That's just me. And so I am back in the gym this year. Like I literally took a whole year off from lifting weights. And I'm back in the gym this year though, and happy to say that Monday I am now repping 225. So I'm doing 225 at least 5 times, man.
Wow.
Um, so with taking a whole year off and just getting back into the gym in March, I'm doing a whole lot better. My mental is back strong, and which is making my body strong. So I'm happy to say the least.
Yeah, good. Just for you know a bit of background on yourself, Kiwi. Would you mind just telling the listeners just a little bit about yourself from joining when you joined the Air Force, and what led to you being medically retired?
Yeah, sure. I'll give you a little bit of back history. So back, let's see, 2011, February of 2011 was when I joined. Um, there was part of me that wanted to do it because of the 9/11 incident, and the other part had nothing to do with it. I had military background because of my family. I have quite a few who are Navy, one Army, and one Marine. So we were all over the place. I was actually originally going to join the Navy, but the recruiter screwed that one up. He kept talking about jobs, and I wanted to ask him how to get my schooling paid for, because as you know, military pays for schooling. And so I wanted to go to school. I wanted to become an engineer. And this guy just kept mentioning jobs. And I'm like, I know I need a job in order to get into the military. What else would I do? Like, you can't just come in and twiddle your thumbs, collect a check, and say, here you go, man. You can have all the free schooling you want. So that blew my mind. And I went over to the Air Force recruiter's office, man. I kid you not. As soon as I walked in, it's like on the wall, there was a pennant that said Community College of the Air Force. And I said, oh, this must be, golden. This is the golden ticket. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. So this is it. And I walk into the office and turned the corner, and there stood two Air Force recruiters. And I kid you not, man, those Air Force recruiters, they were there, and they would be talking to one another until they saw me. Then when they saw me, they said, can we help you? I was like, I'm looking to join the military. Oh, come in my office, And I mean, the rest is pretty much history, but I'll give you guys some of the glimpses. Again, I was 19 when I finally did join 2011, I went to speak to them at 18, but I had to wait for my basic training date. And so I became what is known to the military or the Air Force as an in-flight refueling specialist. And this is where you will refuel airplanes in midair.
Yep.
And when I tell you, every time I mention this to people, I say the in-flight refueling specialist part, and they're just like, cool name. And then I say you refuel airplanes in midair. They're like, wait, what? The name is cool, but what is the real deal behind this? It's literally a roller coaster ride you could never forget. I don't care that I lost my eyesight. I will never forget those moments. I was seeing an F-22, an F-15, F-16, A-10, E-3. I mean, anything, F-18, a C-17, a C-130, a C-5, a B-1, anything you can think of, I refuted except for the president's plane. That's the only thing I didn't refute. That was it. And, actually, I'm glad I didn't, because that means something bad is happening. So unless you're right there, there are some squadrons who had to, because the pilots who fly that plane have to get currency on it. So they still have to maintain currency and be able to go up and refuel in case.
Yeah.
But these pilots for that airplane are usually the best of the best of the best when it comes to flying that aircraft. Everybody on there usually is. But I digress. So yeah, I spent 10 years, 3 months, and 17 days doing that before I was medically retired. I'm not counting or anything. But medically retired due to a motorcycle accident. Ultimately, I would be actually heading home, getting ready to go to the Air Force Base. And it was on a day that I had to work, yes. And a Honda Accord pulls out in front of me. I don't know if it was the Japanese trying to get back at us again or what. No, no, I'm joking. For all of my Pearl Harbor fans. It was just a gray Honda Accord pulled out in front of me. Actually, the guy driving it was from your side of the country, in Europe. He was actually a European guy, and funny enough, I was like, "What the heck?" A European driving a Japanese hitting an American. I don't get it. But uh, I that was May 5th, 2017. So it's been 7 years now, man. I just hit 7 years, and um, when I tell you, so May 5th, 2017, the day of the accident, when it happened, I know nothing of the actual crash. I just know that I went to one of my favorite lakes here in North Carolina, which is Jordan Lake, um, mainly because I grew up around it. It's nothing truly special or nothing like, something spectacular. It's just that those are my childhood stomping grounds. So I kept going there, regardless of how old I was. Um, and then next thing I know, I'm waking up in a hospital, man, a month and a day later, June 6th of 2017. And I had no clue where I was, not even a little bit. I thought I was waking up in my room, my bedroom, because I heard my girlfriend, well, she's now my ex now, but at the time, my girlfriend, speaking. But then I heard her speaking to my mother. I'm like, okay, I know why my girlfriend would be in here, but why is my mom in my bedroom? you know, there's just some things that are off limits. you know. And so I'm listening to the story they're talking about, and it starts to get serious. And it reverts to a motorcycle accident where they're not mentioning names yet. And so, excuse me as I wipe my eye,
That's
because
good.
that is another thing that also is from the accident. But I'm listening to it. Like I said, they're talking about a motorcycle accident. I'm like, wait a minute. This is getting kind of serious. Maybe I should wake up and see who they're talking about. I'm playing possum. Like I am literally just acting like I'm asleep. I can hear everything. And so I go to open my eyes and say something, and lo and behold, nothing comes out. Well, first off, I can't see anything when I open my eyes. So you know how in the movies you see people do one of these numbers, you like do a very hard blink. Um, so that's what I did to see if I could restore my eyesight. I'm like, well, wait, something's not right here. I can't see. And so then I go to say something, because now this is getting bad for me, not for the person they're talking about, because I still don't know who it is, not knowing it's me. I'm like, hey, what the? And so I go to speak only to not be able to speak. I start, and so literally that's how I could talk, because my mouth was wired shut since my jaw was broken. So let's go back a little bit. Let's rewind. All right. I woke up in a hospital room thinking it's my bedroom. I could not see. Then noticed I could not talk. And unbeknownst to me, I didn't realize I couldn't smell, because I was breathing just fine. And I still cannot smell, and people, the first question they ask, well, can you taste anything? I can taste everything. My taste buds are not connected to my smell. It just enhances the ambiance of
Yeah.
it. you know, and people still don't understand that. And I'm like, just trust me. I went through the test that they made me go through. So um, long story short, I'm just like, what kind of nightmare is this, man? This is a true nightmare. And finally, my mother notices that I'm trying to make noises and talk to them, and she comes over, and she asked me what's going on. Am I okay? Is everything all right? She didn't know if I was panicking or what. I mean, I was panicking because of everything I just told you, but at the same sense, what the heck is going on?
Yeah.
That's really what I'm asking here. And she's like, I said, what is this motorcycle dream? He's like, it's not a dream. And I'm like, what? Wait, what? And she had me write it down. And I said, well, who is it about? She was like, it's about you. And I was like, wait, what? I was in a motorcycle accident? Did not move for the rest of the day. Like I sunk into the bed. I went to some other world. Like I'm in a whole nother realm. If you ever seen the movie Inception, I felt like I was doing that. Like that's what I felt like. That movie is very interesting. If you've never seen Inception, it's an older movie, but it's like when they go to sleep, and then inside of a dream they have another dream inside of that dream inside of this dream. Like it's like crazy.
Yeah, so
And
Leonardo DiCaprio, isn't it?
yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah, yeah. I've
and
seen
I
that.
thought
Yeah,
that movie was amazing. Some people were like, I got lost, man. I got lost. I'm like, that's because you're too busy focusing on the dream they had before.
yeah,
Like, follow them, man. Follow them. But anywho, I could not figure out like why it would happen to me first off. Secondly, I was a very safe rider. Like I did not, I've never done a wheelie on a motorcycle. Now, a bicycle back in my childhood, all day long. You were the best kid on the block riding a bike if you could do a wheelie for at least 30 seconds or so.
yeah.
One of those type things. And we had this really steep hill. I used to try to go all the way up the hill with it, man. And so, but with the motorcycle, I just didn't feel safe. Like it didn't feel comfortable. For those people who do it, hey man, my hat's off to you, but it's crazy.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. Cool for movies, not cool for the real street.
Absolutely.
And so I've seen my cousins fall too many times on dirt bikes when they tried to do a wheelie. Like, and I mean, pow, flat back. And so I've never wanted to do one. And weaving in and out of traffic, not my thing, because all it takes is for a car to change lanes. That's it. All it takes is for a car to change lanes just one time. And that's a wrap. And that's all she wrote, man. And I pride I guess you could say I really love my life, you know. Um, and as I used to tell people every time I would post pictures of being on my motorcycle, they would say, "Hey, be careful out there. You ride safe." And I'm like, I'm not the one you have to worry about. It's
No.
everybody else around me. And sure enough, that's what it was. It was somebody else. He pulled out in front of me and I hit him. So, and I was going 55 miles an hour. I'm not sure what that would convert to in kilometers for most of my European listeners here. But for miles per hour, which is how we measure it here in the US, I was doing 55. And when I tell you motorcycles don't stop, like on a dime, like people think they do. And if it does, it's because you did a front flip off of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, like you're just gonna slide into the car if you were to lock that back tire up, because the surface of the tire is about this big, man. It's really small. Now it's wide, but because it's rounded, like rounded up, the tire surface that you're touching the ground with is this big. Like it's not even worth mentioning. And so and it's also just one tire versus four that really, stop the car. Like I said, if you lock that front brake up, you just forget it
Yeah.
because you're going off. So yeah, I mean that's how I got to where I am now, as far as being visually impaired, having traumatic brain injury, PTSD. Let's see, what else do we have here? Spinal cord infusion, broke both legs to include my the largest bone in your body, which is your femur. I deal with this every day. It's not like a day that goes by where I'm like, oh man, I had a great day, no pain. No, there's no such thing anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is my new life.
And you know, you sort of talk about there's no day where there's no pain, and I get that, and many people that listen to this podcast from the veterans community, they're going to get that, and they're going to understand that. But you still have quite a positive outlook on life, which is sort of one of the things that sort of drew me to you. Is you are sort of a positive. You're a happy person. You've got the comedy T-shirts rocking, and you wrote a book as well. Don't focus on why me.
Yeah.
How long after the accident did you write that book?
So, like I said, May 5th, 2017 was the accident. People were like, I give it about 2018. People were like, man, you should really write a book, because I would keep telling my story over and over and over, and they would see the progress that I'm making. They would see how I am traveling and going to different places to better myself, like these blind rehab centers that we have here in the States. Going to self-advocacy many centers to learn how to advocate for yourself as a visually impaired person. I'm just doing all these different things, the warrior games, valor games, like you name it, I'm trying to do it.
Yeah.
I'm still playing my drums. I've been playing since I was 7, and I'm 32 now. I still play till today. And some people who listen to it, they're like, dude, you didn't miss a beat. I'm like, little do you know. But
muscle memory.
Right. And I picked up on the keyboard. This was after I lost my sight. I started learning keyboard because it used to intimidate me just to look at it. The black and white keys, the buttons, I just didn't understand what it all. I'm like, how does this even work? Like, who wants to play something that looks like this? and then I started, tinkering with it, and I was like, it sounds so awesome. It was the sound that drew people to it, not the look. The drums are a look thing. The keyboard is a sound thing. Now you can mix the two with the drums, but I'm telling you, when people start to see those drums, they're like, oh man, this looks cool. Yeah. They don't say that about a keyboard. Man, that looks cool. No, they don't really say much. But the sound that you can get from it, oh my goodness. I just did a creative arts festival just this past week, and there was a young man who played the keyboard, and he did classic. And dude, it just, when he was playing, it took me to a whole nother place because of the sounds that comes from it. Not the look. The sounds can take you somewhere else. And that's where the whole term and phrase music therapy comes from. But I will go back to what you mentioned as far as the book. Like I said, people were just throwing the idea, hey man, you should definitely write a book. And it's like, you know how you cook noodles or spaghetti noodles and you're throwing them at the wall and waiting to see if it's going to stick? Yeah, that's what it was doing. It wasn't sticking. It just kept falling off the wall. And so I'm like, yeah, I got you. I'll do it. Okay, yeah, I'll do it one day. Yeah. No, man, I got you. Trust me. It just kept going year after year. And finally, COVID hit, the pandemic. And I was like, what the heck, man? I was going to the gym, going to the YMCA, doing swimming classes, lessons and stuff, just trying to get back out in the community as a visually impaired person. And now we have this pandemic that just shut everything down. And I was like, now what? Like, now what do I do? And so one day it came over me. It was like, dude, you should write the book. And I was like, I guess so. I should write the book. I haven't been doing anything else. I was kind of busy before the pandemic. And then it was like, you're not doing anything now because everything's closed. And so the Blind Rehab Center in Augusta, Georgia, here in the States. Uh, I asked them if I could get a desktop computer and that I could get some keyboarding classes so that I can learn how to type again. Refamiliarize myself with the keyboard. I mean, I already knew how to type because I used to. Uh, my degree is in computer information systems, so I know how to type. Now I got to reset myself, home row key, all that good stuff. Anyway, they taught me these things and the methods of keyboarding,
Yeah.
and then they taught me JAWS. Um, I've went on, of course, to learn voiceover, which is Apple. And as they're teaching me these things, man, it's like now I'm learning a whole nother language in a sense. Uh, and so yeah, I started. I go to this. Well, I look. I don't even know how I came across this schooling, but I did. It's called Self-Publishing School, and
Okay.
I came across the school somehow, some way, and they through video courses, personal coaching one on one, and then you had group coaching as well. But through all these different tools, taught me how to self-publish, and so I self-published that book with the aid of a coach, with an editor who was actually he's former United States Army living overseas in Asia. So it's actually pretty cool. We were like 12 hours a time difference. So I would be submitting edits to him and wake up to his edits. Like that was our schedule. It was so cool. But yeah, so editor, formatter, book formatter, and a cover designer with going through the school because they give you a Rolodex of people that you can utilize.
Yeah.
And so that's how I came about writing that book, man. And the title came from me being in the hospital, actually. The Don't Focus on Why Me. Well, the question that was asked to me in the hospital, and this was not by a person. I am a faith believer, and this was not asked by a person. I was in my hospital room alone. I promise you, because I looked around. Like first off, looked around as if I could see anything, but
Yeah.
secondly, I looked around and wanted to make sure nobody was in my room. But I said, why would this happen to me? Why would something like this happen to me? Like, what did I do? And I just kept, questioning myself in my mind, but it sounded like somebody said something out loud. It was like, well, why not you? And I was like, whoa, what the hell of it? Like, and I'm like, somebody there? And no response. I was like, okay, I know I'm not crazy. I just heard something.
Yeah.
And it was one of those surreal moments where that's where it came from. It settled on me that I had been doing things without either seeing, which like having my eyes closed, having all the lights turned off and it's pitch black, things like that. When I used to play hide and seek outside at night, dude, I was the best. I could see you from miles away. Like I had like some of the best night vision ever. And people used to hate it because they're like, how do you see me? I'm like, I mean, to me, you look like you're in plain sight. You're hiding in plain sight kind of thing. But it was those things that brought me to the don't focus on the why me portion of it. And in my book, I talk about it. It's a chapter about it, where it's like, why not me? And it's focusing on if you can just focus on the why not me, or if you focus on the why me portion and you still come out victorious versus viewed as a victim, then you won. So I'm winning because I understand that the why me portion, I'm actually victorious. I can do so many things that even people with sight are like, how do you do that? And I'm like, I just put one foot in front of the next and I keep going. So that's how I came up with the title of the book, writing about the book. Now the cover, I will give a little insight on the cover for those who will go check it out. Um, just so you can have some insight. There's a picture of a black motorcycle, which is a Kawasaki Ninja ZX6R. And the reason I know this is because it was mine. That was the motorcycle I was riding the day of my accident. That was the exact picture, the exact motorcycle, because I took that picture. I used to be a photographer as well. The backdrop, which is, trees, dirt, ground, a dock, all of that is Jordan Lake, that lake that I mentioned earlier that I used to go to for my childhood.
Yeah.
I also took that picture. So what I had the cover designer do is stitch it together. Those two pictures, those are two separate pictures. I had them stitch them together. And that was what they came up with. So that's why it looks like that.
Yeah, we'll for those that do want to go check it out, in the description in the podcast, I will put a link to the book in there. So make sure you go and give it a click and have a look.
Yeah.
So on from the book, training. You said you're getting back up to it. Have you got? Are you competing this year?
In the Warrior Games?
Yeah.
No, actually, I did not even go to trials.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I didn't bother because I had, like I told you, I took a whole year off.
Yeah.
From working out, and I knew I wouldn't have been any good. They would have been like, "You're here for what again?" Now maybe next year,
Yeah.
I might look into it to see about going back. I know for sure some of our guys and gals are like doing outside events now, like competing against, I guess you could say, able bodies.
Yeah.
And different, like, gosh, I don't know if you remember. We call her Roro.
Yeah. Roro. Yep.
Yes, she just what for powerlifting? She just won, or no, not won. I guess you'd call it winning, but she broke the record. That's what it is for her age group and weight class, but not in the Wounded Warrior stuff. This was like just the regular U.S. people. Like, this is regular state, nationwide. She
Wow.
broke the record. Yeah, for bench press. And I said, "You go, girl." And then what's today? So yesterday she just added another 10 pounds to it. I said, "That's my girl." So she is killing it, man. She added another 10 pounds to that record. But it's not in the books because she just did it for exhibition.
Yeah.
It wasn't for a PR or anything. But the official record is hers. And that is, I think it was a 115-pound bench press in her weight class and her age group. And when I tell you, she was like, "Coach, that was easy." He was like, "I want it to be easy. I don't want you to be struggling up here.
Yeah.
I want them to think that you were, about to run out of gas. I don't want that. That's a bad look."
Definitely.
I want them to think that they have no chance in catching you. And so he made her to stop at 115. He didn't make her keep going. Yeah.
So if you're gonna,
it's like a mind game.
yeah, definitely. So if you're gonna potentially go back next year, I think the next Invictus Games after Canada will probably be in the UK.
Probably.
So is that something you could aim for?
Invictus? Maybe we'll shoot. I know I didn't want to do Winter Games. I just knew that for a fact. And
Yeah.
and it's not that I don't like the okay, let's put it like this. Let me not sugarcoat this. I can't stand cold weather. Okay. And now that I have all these metal rods and stuff, it makes it no easier
Yeah,
because
I
they're
feel that.
like, yeah, they ache. Like it makes me ache and stuff. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
Now I have some great cold weather gear now because I don't know if you saw on my social media, I went to Vermont, which is like the cold weather area here in the States. It's one of those cold weather areas,
Yeah.
and it's got mountains. And I went skiing.
You actually
No
went
sight,
skiing.
no sight,
Hmm.
and went skiing. Hey man, I only hit that tree once, dude. No, no, seriously, I didn't run into a thing. Actually, a kid walked into me. You know why? Because I was wearing a vest that said blind skier.
Right.
And so he's like reading it from behind and walking up like to the on this side of me, trying to look at my eyes. I had on goggles though, like so you can't see my eyes. You know, Alexa, stop. And so, it's like one of those things where uh I was standing there listening to my instructor who was coaching me that they had a earpiece on my ear and a microphone so that I could hear her, she could hear me, and I could talk to her, she could talk to me, kind of thing, as we were going down the mountain. And the kid comes up and he clips my ski, my left ski, and with his ski. So he has on skis. It's not like he's just walking in the snow. And so it's such a cute story, man. So the once the I said, "Whoa, what was that?" And then the instructor was like, "Hey, watch out, watch your skis." And he like steps over, side steps, and he's like, "Sorry, I'm sorry." And then he's still looking at me. And the reason I know this is because just about another maybe 2, 3 more steps, he's like, "Holy crap, dude, you're blind." I can't make it up, man. If I am, this Lord take me tonight. Okay. But I kid you not, man. He's like, "Holy crap, dude, you're blind." And like, dude, that if I could have recorded that, I would play it over, like over and over every day, man, because I heard the first off the excitement, the pure shock, and like just the fact that he was like, "Wait, a blind guy can ski?" Like it was just his mind was catching up. You could hear the wheels turning,
Yeah, yeah.
and I mean, even my wheels were turning. Okay, I was trying to figure out how I was getting down these mountains and slopes without dying.
And you got to you must be thinking in the back of your mind as well. I hope I haven't pissed off the instructor.
Yeah, no, she was actually very, very patient. That's the right word. Patient. Listen, if I could do anything to new and learning it, I would find her and hope she knows it because her patience is impeccable. It was like the epitome. She would be the most patient person you would ever want to meet and learn something from because she had like all the knowledge, and if she didn't figure it out, she was like, "Hold on, let's think about this for a second." And like like that's what she would do. And it was just I wish I could remember her name. But she kept saying like, "Yeah, I'm a gypsy," and I'm like, uh, "Time out. See, I'm not familiar with that term. What does that mean?" And I didn't know what it meant. Now I do because she explained it to me. It just means that she's a person who free floats and moves around a lot.
Yeah.
And I had no clue what that term meant. And I'm like, I hope she ain't casting no spells on me, man. What you mean you a gypsy? I had no clue what it meant because I just kept hearing her use this term over and over for a week. And I'm like, dude, Lord, just please protect me tonight because I don't know what she casted on me. Like, but no, that's all it meant. And she's such a great person, man. I wish I could just remember her name. I would, of course, give her a shout out. But we went to Stowe, Vermont, is where we were. And when I tell you this is where all the rich people go to ski, this is where all the rich and well-off people go to ski because there were houses in those mountains that were costing well into the millions. And like one of them, I'm sure you're familiar. Are you familiar with Chris Rock?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, one of them was his. He owned one of those ski. I guess you say I don't know how they call them, what they call them, but it's like a house in the mountains.
Yeah, like a
Um,
chalet.
a lot, yeah. So he owned one of those, and there are a couple of other wealthy people owned some of those houses, and you could see them like when you're coming down the hill, like you could see them. And it's like, whoa, that's a pretty cool house. Oh, I got to turn. Like that. Like people were forgetting, oh, I got to turn. Like, that's how they kept falling over. They get ready to go off the edge into the path where it's really thick, a thick snow, and you can't turn or nothing. You just fall in it. I did that a couple times. I think it's about 2 or 3 times I fell in that soft snow. But that's actually the only falling I did. Okay, so getting off the chair, I fell because my legs weren't strong enough to push me up. And as soon as I tried to push, it basically pushed my skis out. And now my legs are going that way too.
Yeah.
So I have no leverage. But when that chair came up, it was like, man, your knees are in your chest. And I'm 6'1". So if my knees are in my chest and I have weak legs, it's not a good combination.
No.
Yeah, so that was the first time I fell. The second and third time was in on the sides because I didn't stop soon enough. When I came to a stop on the side of the ski slope, and my right foot would go down into the snow, and so did I. You can't stop it. So yeah, man, that was my ski trip in January this year, 2024.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've literally not been anywhere. We're coming to the States in July. We're going to Orlando for a couple of weeks. Bringing the kids over to do Disney and
Oh yeah, nice.
all of that good stuff. But yeah, I've not really been. God, I've not been anywhere since Vegas.
Oh dang. Yeah.
Which I wish I had, but work and surgery and physio and life gets in the way.
True.
It does. So the last sort of question I want to ask you is, what would you say to somebody that's maybe like you lost their sight late in life? Maybe they're struggling to sort of comprehend why. What would you say to them? Because obviously you are like a blind god where you just get on and you do everything and you still function like you've got your sight. So what would you say to those people?
There's 2 sides to this. So the first thing I would say, and then I'll end it with a quote that I follow up with. The first thing I'll say is that, you are the only person who can limit you. Okay. That's the biggest thing. And I had to I had to realize that and understand it for myself. Your mindset controls everything. Because without the mind, your body does nothing. It literally cannot function. So if you got it in your mind that you can't do something, guess what? You can't. I mean, Henry Ford already said that. This is a whole different quote. He said, if you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Either way, you're right. Now, that's a whole separate quote. That's not the one I'm going to end with. But your mindset is what determines how you get back on your feet, how you fight back. If you're planning on wanting to learn this life, that's what I took it on as my new life. because instead of me trying to dwell on the past, and that's where we get stuck and caught up in, is be, oh man, I remember when I used to, oh man, I remember how I used to, oh man, I remember the way I used to. That's where you get stuck. That's where you are now, what I like to say, just spinning wheels. If you're spinning wheels, you're never going anywhere. Slap that sucker in second gear and get going. You want to move forward. Do not stay in neutral. Don't try to go in reverse to get what you had. Figure out what's next. What's next in life for me? And that's what you say to yourself. What's next for me? Now, what I'll end with on this quote that I really love, it was a show that I love. And I heard this guy say it, man, it was so beautiful. The way he put it and the way it can be used for anyone. I mean, because everybody has something going on. So it can be used for anyone. But I use this all the time, especially when I feel myself, either getting down or feeling like I can't do something. He says, my situation does not define who I am. I define who I am. And when I heard that, I was like, whoa, time out. That is so powerful. My situation, my visual impairment, my back being in pain because of the 2 rods and 12 screws, my legs being in pain and not wanting to stand on my right foot for too long because it'll start swelling. Yes, I feel those things every day. Yes, I may have a headache one day. But guess what? My situation does not define who I am. I, at the end of the day, define who I am.
Absolutely.
And that's what I'll leave everybody with.
It's brilliant. Well, thank you very much for coming on.
Yeah, no problem.
It's been awesome to speak to you and hear your story. And yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure. Those that want to listen back, okay, this is going to be on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Podcasts in a couple of days once I've done the editing. So give it a listen. Make sure you check out Kiwi's book. The link will be in the description on all those platforms. And yeah, thank you very much, Kiwi. It's been a pleasure.